Oh. It throws us onto a menu that looks more like video editing software than a game. Quite simplistic GUI, but then again, maybe simplicity is precisely what we want here. After all, it seems like the more you add onto the liminal exploration genre, the less of itself it becomes. Hello everyone, and welcome to Pools. A simple title for a simple game in which we find ourselves trapped in the pool rooms, desperately looking for a way out, or quite lazily. I suppose whether this is horror or a dream come true is in the eye of the beholder, as it is with all liminal exploration. It can be relaxing, or it can invoke a sense of dread, and this game is listed as psychological horror. I always have a real internal struggle when it comes to deciding whether to do a game like this, because for as cool as it may be, I have done it before. I've made a whole career out of exploring Gary's Mod liminal maps. I played a bunch of games like this, and at a certain point, what more can I say about the pool rooms or the yellowed walls of the back rooms? But when a lot of you are asking for something, I take notice, and this game actually does have a fair bit of attention on Steam, so I'm willing to hear it out. And I'm certainly in the mood for it. It claims it has 6 chapters, each taking 10 to 30 minutes each, but since they're locked from the start, I imagine it's going to be one continuous journey. This game does also have VR support, and I kind of agonized over whether I should play it in VR, and I decided against it because, look, I want to be in this from start to finish. I don't want to take any breaks to reduce eye strain or sickness, and I feel like I've reached the point where I don't necessarily need VR to get immersed. I talked about the simplicity of this, and it seems like that's its biggest strength. There are no jump scares, no entities, not even music while we're exploring. So, without further ado, let's hop in the pools. Are we going for a found footage angle? That would make the menu quite thematically appropriate. Or do I need to press start? Oh, I do. Like digital files, but it sounds like someone's loading film reels. Here we are. Climbed down a ladder, didn't see that there was no bottom, and wound up right here. It seems like, very much like Dreamcore, we are going for found footage, but it's a much, much cleaner image. So that's kind of refreshing to see it with this level of sharpness. Now, to be fair, Dreamcore did let you turn that effect off. But, ooh, it's very smooth movement. It even feels like there might be a little bit of smoothness to the camera motion. But there's a bit of momentum. It feels like I'm actually walking with legs and not just a character sliding around the map. There's that familiar bright light that should indicate daylight, but instead comes from nowhere. Now, before I get going and really see what this is like, I had this thought that I don't know if I've ever properly addressed. Now, liminal spaces come in, well, any shape and size, but there are a few pre-packaged ideas that seem to come through a lot. The back rooms, the pool rooms, play places in the dark. And that last one at least makes a little bit of sense because, you know, a lot of us have memories of those things. A lot of us have had toddler nightmares about those things. But when it comes to the pool rooms, I've always thought, why pools? Because I think a big part of why it got so popular is not just that it was something that somebody came up with and it looked cool. I think people saw it and it resonated with them. The kind of thought that nobody would ever vocalize because who's going to relate to that? And it just turned out that a surprising number of people saw something in this imagery, something familiar, and I really don't know what. These reflective tiles are not just an engine thing for show, I guess. These tiles really are slippery. The warm lighting always makes me think that this air must be extremely densely humid. Probably very warm air, like going to the local rec center's pool. I have memories of that. I was a fish. I would take swimming lessons just to be in that environment, just because I loved swimming so much and didn't have a pool at home. Yeah, maybe that's part of it. I mean, after all, any facilities with indoor pools kinda already have a sense of this. Winding halls leading to the locker rooms, maybe you go on a day where there's not many people. Kinda feels like you're entering another reality when you get to the pools. We can walk into the water ourselves. You can see the ripples of the water being pushed by our body, and even the added resistance of coming down here. We're really having to wade through this. Oh, look at this. Even when we sprint, there's a little bit of bounce to our step like you would do in a pool. Now that is a neat attention to detail. So, while other liminal games like Dreamcore have tried to give that feeling of a distant memory by affecting more the viewpoint, this gives a sense of, like, realistically being here. Of having our body and how it feels to be here be a central part of the experience. Oh my... We can even hear the water dripping off of us. For a silent game, they're doing some really cool things with sound design. Okay, 2 rooms deep into this, and it's already impressing me in a lot of directions. Also, we may be alone here, but this place probably wasn't empty forever. Oh, look at these tall, tall ceilings. And the shift in lighting reminds us that shadows can fall here, that light is not something to take for granted. Oh, but look here. A map of some kind, maybe? This is what I mean by this place may have had someone else at some point. It sounds like there's actually some sort of wind moving through here. Light or dark, we've got to make a choice. Oh, I see. Listen to that, we can actually hear the air being pushed out of the vents. But pushed from where? I find myself drawn to the darkness, I can't help it. This is almost like entering a Brooklyn subway station. Now what's cool is that I bet these tiles are actually the same exact color. It's just the lighting that casts them in like a different temperature. See, here it's like a dusty old subway, turn around and it's like some cathedral. Or like you've already gone to heaven. Everything's a matter of perspective in a place like this. But look, those windows are actually so narrow and short for a place like this. Listen to that. We can even hear our shoes sort of like sticking and slicking on the tile as we walk after coming out of water. I understand this game now. Or rather, this game understands what makes liminal spaces so creepy in the first place. It is the emptiness. It's the sensory deprivation, where there's nothing to keep your mind occupied but to keep walking into these endless spaces. No assurance that you'll ever reach any sort of end. The only goal in mind is to see something new, and there's always something new, but never a conclusion. It's surreal and dreamlike, and yet you're trying to wonder why it resonates so much with you. There's a familiarity that certainly isn't anything you've personally experienced. Or is it? Oh, we've come full circle. Straight back to where we started. I take it that this is the kind of game, though, that you're really meant to just kind of let yourself be led wherever your curiosity takes you. It's like Dreamcore in that way, which, you know, obviously the comparisons are inevitable, but it's definitely distinctly different in style. It feels like its goals are just slightly different. Are those... Puddle's mine. Hang on. The air there sounded suspiciously like breathing. just so quiet I can't help but think I hear other things sometimes. Knowing this game, I wouldn't be surprised if it actually is possible to slip. Okay, so in this case then, we're gonna want to make a right here. That bodily momentum. If I want to make a turn, I can't do so on a dime. It told me no entities, but my brain still sees a pattern when I see one. A water slide. This is actually scratched and faded, a strange blemish on perfection. I mean, sure, there's some... what looks like water maybe condensing on the ceiling, although that could just be the pattern of the tiles. Otherwise, it's slick and smooth and shiny all over. Not a cracked or missing tile anywhere in sight, so to see something like this, it implies a strange passage of time. Maybe somebody sat here and watched it decay just for the opportunity to see something change in this stagnant place. And looking at a room like this, I'm noting the larger-than-life scale. And that's something I haven't talked about much, but it is something that's always appeared in my dreams. Places that just are uncharacteristically huge that I think nothing of in the moment. I do wonder why brains do that in dreams, assuming, of course, that's not just unique to me, but, well, given games like this, I suspect it's not. And that really is the coolest thing about the liminal space phenomenon. Once people started talking about it, they realized that it was a concept that they'd always been aware of, but never consciously focused on or could put to words. We've got another choice here, actually several. But like I said, I'm drawn to dark. Does this take us to somewhere we've seen? Quite possibly, just about anything is better than that. But of course I have to go see that, right? There's gonna be so much, and it doesn't feel like the kind of game that really expects you to see everything. Oh no. It must have hit a wall. Oh no. It's a tunnel that makes me feel concentrated fear. I know I was at the edge, or my character was simply refusing to go forward. That was so creepy. And I suppose it's technically keeping its promise. Not afraid of the dark, an achievement reads. Heard the ominous bellowing. A reward and or punishment for curiosity. That is so cool. Nothing but a sensory experience. At first, nothing at all. And then just fear. If nothing else, that alone is a really unique take on how horror in liminal spaces should be done. See, the reason things like this are psychological horror, oh hey, we're back to here, is because it's very much a slow burn. At first, what you're thinking is probably curiosity. Oh wow, what is this place? What could be here? But the longer you go, the further you go without encountering an exit, the more you start to realize that while there's nothing overtly after you, this is actually really bad. There's nothing to eat. This water, I imagine, stinks heavily of chlorine. What am I gonna eat? What am I gonna drink? My legs are starting to hurt. There's nowhere comfortable for me to lay down. And so it's the kind of thing that doesn't change, and yet still becomes markedly worse over time, especially when you realize you passed the same place for the third or fourth time. Now, when I say just fear, I mean, a dream can make you feel any way about anything. And so it only makes sense then that if something like this is to have scares, it needs to run on pure emotion, nothing else. There's a ladder here. Exit denied. All these railings, almost like the line leading to the pool is the pool. They say that liminality is defined as transitional spaces, or being unnerved by them being transitional spaces that simultaneously are and or not an endpoint. Well, I suppose you can do the same thing to pools. I mean, after all, pools are generally like this, you know, a fixed point in the middle of a room. So, when you seem to be able to travel by pool, when they become an indoor canal, there's something that's inherently unnerving about that. I couldn't tell as I rounded the corner. Did it look like that diving board was moving? Like something had just come in? Those holes in the walls almost look like a pattern that might be on a place like this. Except they actually do go back really far. Oh. There's even an echoing sound meant to convey the anxiety of walking out here. Is this the way to a water slide? I doubt we could manage it, but could we try climbing up this thing? After what we heard in that tunnel, do we really want to try that? Do we really want to be kicked in the face by the fat child of whatever horrors live here? That was a bit of a pain metaphor, but you get it. So many different directions to check. And again, it's not like I'm in any sort of rush, right? Why double back? Why try to be efficient? Go where curiosity takes you. I said it myself earlier on. It's very dark that way. Okay, there's seemingly no bellowing to be heard here. So it's not an always in the dark thing. That tunnel was just inhabited by something. Look at you, watching the clock. Watching the clock wind backwards, that is. And I've got to wonder if it's because you really thought you could ground yourself in this way, or if it's just to hear the ticking, just to hear something. That spiral staircase to nowhere, right here. it inaccessible. Did you hear that? Hang on. I think it sounded like maybe it came from somewhere over here. I can't even tell if that's a vocalization or not, but we've come back around. My... Oh, it's that yellow ball all over again. Although you didn't pull a fast one on me, rubber ducky. You're the one. You make bath time lots of fun. Oh boy. Anytime there's water, there's the implicit threat of drowning. But usually we're walking, well, on the walkways. It's not really anywhere but the back of our mind until we have to step into the darkened water. And in a place like this, I can't tell if I hear footsteps that aren't mine. Are the walls right beside me, or do they extend out a ways? I have no idea. Either way, I think in water and in the dark is about as vulnerable as a person can be, and you're really reminded of that in a hurry when you're in a space like that. Let's climb on out of here. I mean, upward is technically the direction we entered from, so it stands to reason that climbing up would get us closer to home. But not much stands to reason around here. Ooh, a red slide. I wonder if we'll actually be able to ride this one. Oh, can we? Can we please? Here we go. Oh, it's dark in here too. We even get water all over our vision. Need to blink it away. But hey, at least we got to have a little bit of fun while we were here, right? I've really got to get out of the mindset of like my normal life while playing a game like this. Time stands still. That's what that clock was meant to tell us. Running backwards is basically the same thing. So don't worry about how long things are taking, just come along for the ride. Allow yourself to experience things. It's therapeutic in a way. It's very creepy, but it can also be therapeutic. I mean, just think, a game like this would have been unthinkable 10, 15 years ago. But with the rise of the indie scene, software has basically given us the opportunity to have playable dreams offered up to us. Hey, so I distinctly heard a sound that sounded like it was farther away. I think this is the maze that it was talking about. That drawing on the wall, in which case I may actually know how to get out of here. Provided we can keep to a certain direction. I feel like the whole water just moved, like it had been displaced by something climbing in. Oh my god. You saw that! Pointing fingers! Dude, like I said, this map is keeping its promise. Oh, there's the exit. No jump scares, no entities. But it's still got these unnerving scripted moments that are still few and far between. They stand out for a moment and then they're gone. That moment for the eyes to adjust feels seriously heavenly. Those were human hands pointing towards us from a ladder, as if it needs the ladder. Ah, it gets creepier the more I think about it. It feels so much like a warning, or even just a threat, like I'm coming for you. Or maybe not even a threat from the hands themselves. Just informing us of our doom. I get too close and I can hear the rumble of the air rushing upward. I realize now that the breathing is probably supposed to be me. It's just that early on I had first heard it when we were next to a vent, and it's taken until now to shake that association. But look, speaking of associations, it's these plastic cheap pool chairs. And they're just here sporadically. Some of them are angled like someone's used them before, but is that the case, or are they also projections of the space itself? How does something like this come to be? Oh my. The other high dive was bad. This is so much worse. Maybe we should just face our fears? Let's go. Oh my. There was actually a hit at the bottom. Number 1, Chapter 1 completed. Even if we try, even if we find a place, we can't end it. But we are very much down in the dark. Have we rewarded ourselves by moving on, or have we made it so much worse? I'll never make it back to that ladder now. We could have totally stacked 2 of those chairs. Sounds so much like speech. Like somebody speaking into a microphone at the conference room down the hall. With these sounds, there's always the feeling that something's just out of reach, that something's just around the corner, and you don't know whether you should chase it down or if you should avoid it at all costs. It really rewires your thinking being in an infinite space like this. It makes you crave anything different, any sort of stimulation, but at the same time, you're afraid of it. I said earlier that there's 2 ways to think of our entrance to any liminal environment. There's the straight dream, where there is no exploration. There's the straight dream, where there is no explanation for why we're here, and we just roll with it. That, I feel, enables the much more relaxed, sleepwalky way of thinking of things. But then there's being trapped here, of ending up here. And that is much more open, I think, to horror. And it seems like this is the situation we're in now. I had to come over here to see if this was really, really deep. But it's just a change in the color of the tiles. A massive staircase that actually defies perspective somewhat. I mean, it looks huge. But then you look at the texture of the tiles compared to the ones beside us, and you realize this room is massive. And it leads into a big dark nothing. Inaccessibility is also a big part of it. You know, the nonsensical layouts of the places. It really feels like when I was a little kid and I would try to draw architecture, I had this obsession with connectivity. And this is no different. Oh, what a cruel tease. And we can't even jump up and over, although I'm sure if we could reach it, it would just lead to more abyss. It's like it taunts us. It knows ladders are salvation in our mind. Or perhaps not. Oh my. I thought I saw us falling downward a little bit. Think that the ground suddenly falling out from under us in the dark. Seems I have reached the back wall. And now I can't get out of here fast enough. Come on, up and out. In that perspective, when you're coming up these stairs, it looks like they're right there. You did that on purpose. But the whole eyes adjusting to different brightness levels thing is pretty well implemented too, actually. I mean, it's in a lot of games, but often it's pretty overbearing. Here, it's quick enough that it feels natural, while still noting the contrast between areas. These hallways are watching me. I don't think you would make that tunnel on the opposite side, if you're even lined up with it. It's the kind of thing that seems like a fun wonderland until you give it even a moment's thought. Hey, game, what were you loading just now? Don't think I didn't feel that. Makes me highly suspicious. We can't even make our way to those stairs, and we'd have to duck those beams if we could. See this, the white tiles with the bluish lower level. That's just Rec Center 101 right there. Endless pools. And even that is something that you sort of see in rec centers and such places. You'll often have the pool and separate, like, hot tubs. And when they're in the same area, maybe that's where the idea comes from. Separate pools all near to each other that appear so often in dreams. These symbols are here as well. It kind of makes me wonder if we're not making a choice. Is there something to be seen if we go down those stairs all the way? There is not. Okay, I think it was just the way things were going, but I could have sworn I saw something almost like a head poking out, going beneath the waves. It probably was just the waves, but it's still... it freaked me out for a moment. I've been noticing that a lot. I've been seeing things. Like, if it's a railing going around a rounded corner, I'll think it's like a tendril. And it startles me just a little bit, just a little micro jump scare. What is this? Lockers? And once more, these rounded cathedral archways are all over. Some of this stuff is obvious, the beach chairs and the water slides in the lockers. There's certain images that I really do wonder how they came to be associated with the pools. Can we slip through? Not quite. And stuff like this further emphasizes none of this was meant for us. We're a fish out of water, so to speak. We are in a place that does not care for our navigability. Is that a word? Feels like it should be. And you know, anytime I play a game like this, I have to acknowledge that I am not really getting the full experience. Because I'm talking to an audience. I'm talking to an audience that I know will hear this. And that sort of makes me feel not as alone. This would be so much more oppressive otherwise. Then again, the commentary can't save me from everything. Whisper in the dark. Did you hear that? Oh no. The lights turned out! Oh my god. It's like it's a wall of darkness, something I can actually move beyond. You can physically see it. I had thought that the whispers would get worse the farther down I went, but instead they were fleeting. I wasn't inviting the audience to come talk to me. You know, it's nothing. It really is no harm done. But there's also an association that if the legs of these chairs are in water, something has gone horribly wrong. Somebody's gonna get in trouble. The chairs are in the place they're not supposed to be. They belong on land, not in the pool. Look, I've already been primed to be startled. Don't do this to me. See, the thing is, you guys blend in. At first, you're just shadowy shapes. But those eyes, they bulge. Anatodophobia made close contact with... What does that say? Made close contacts with the residents of a dark place. I see you peering from around the corners. Oh, hey! We can actually kind of stand on top of you. Alright, you're to be my steed, then. Wow, this is actually kind of working. That is so funny. Bucks like a horse. Oh, hey, you. Caught sight of you, and the first thing I thought is, am I playing Xenomatrix again? Look at you, an actual depiction of a human. It's not Sisyphus, but carrying that block seems to be a Sisyphean task. Even your marble or granite or whatever you're supposed to be seems slick, like the air is condensing water onto you. Well, I'll try and imagine you happy. Is there anything at the end of this? Some places are so huge and yet end so abruptly. I distinctly heard rummaging. I'm looking back to see if any of the doors have opened. Nowhere for anyone to go, yet I still hear those sounds. Do I really want to open one of the lockers? If I could, I wouldn't. Oh, hey, look! We found the other side of this thing! And that warrants a victory touch. Alright, so for those who aren't familiar with why I say that, it's this thing I do in urban exploration, exploring abandoned areas, where a lot of the time you'll find doors that are locked or blocked or otherwise inoperable. And those can be very frustrating, especially when you're trying to get inside. So when I find myself on the opposite side, the inside of a door that previously gave me trouble, I like to do a little victory touch, just reach out and touch the other side. Oh, look at that. At first I had mistaken those for high-up tunnels with waterfalls running down from them. There's a strange ambiance in here. Is that a swing? Or maybe a light fixture hanging down? Now remember, there is no soundtrack in this. Any sound we hear is diegetic. Oh my, that's reflective. That's real reflective. Oh. Man, that's disorienting. And with the texture, I wasn't sure if it was just really reflective, or if we were about to plunge into some absurdly deep water. Well, I suppose it could be filled with water for all we know. There was a turnoff here. I had hoped that if we ever found a ladder again, we'd be climbing upward. But for how far we fell, would it even matter? Oh no. Flooded dark showers. And a rumble, a rhythmic rumble that ebbs and flows. Okay, just get me out of here. It's like a dark shower hallway. We had that at the pool at my high school. It was just a very, very narrow hallway with shower heads on either side that led to the locker room. And you'd all have to walk through there so you could spray all the water and chlorine off on the way to the lockers. And now that I think about it, that place, I mean, it was already pretty dim, but that place in the dark would be really creepy. Case in point, that. Do we feel like we can survive that? Well, we've survived worse. Yep, we came out of an exit that's just like the other two. See, a lot of this is explorable. I so rarely, if I've ever, hit a dead end. But sometimes it teases so much more. paths that aren't accessible. What was that? It seemed almost like a visible sound wave, but I didn't hear much other than a thwomp. I just scared myself with my own footsteps. Look at that, a column that doesn't even reach the floor. Earlier we had the split between the circular hallways and the triangle hallways. And I do wonder, was I making a choice by going one way over the other? Feels like I've been lost in here for such a long time. Actually, glancing at Audacity, it hasn't been quite as long as it feels like, but it has been longer than I thought it had been. It sounds like there's something moving up there. These are all real subtle sounds. Chairs lining a hallway. I feel like I'm being watched, and being knee-deep in water creates that nightmare feeling of being unable to run. Hello? I'd never want to leave. Something that feels intentional. Something so grounding. But quite cruelly, it's right here in the water. You'd never be able to get comfortable here. Listen, it falls off so much, so even if you tried to bring a chair over here... I mean, I guess it's still something. Hey, so this is looking a lot like where we just came from. I mean, when we first fell down here. Like an angel. Speaking of angels... another statue. And like me, you look like you're craving the sunlight. Hey, here's where this comes out. Or have we seen this before? I'm honestly not sure. Look at that. It actually just snakes its way down a hallway meant for foot traffic. Well, the phrase meant for is doing a lot of heavy lifting, but you know what I mean. That is a strange image, and actually, it's one I don't think I've seen before, to its credit. Oh no. I don't know what's worse, the fear of falling or the knowledge that I won't die wherever I end up. I haven't tested it, but I've also not seen any indication that it would stop me from doing so. And once we've come all the way to the top, just climb into the dark and ride down. The loss of control here. Being in the dark and moving so fast, feeling your body be tossed around like that. Ugh. It was a heck of a lot of fun, though. I wonder how something like that would work in VR. Well, you know the drill. Darkness holds secrets. I think I fell straight off the end. I think there was a drop there. Okay, well, we see the mechanism for keeping us alive now. And now we know we can only die in the way that it tells us. And I think we might have found it. Another slide. An inner tube also, which would be cumbersome to carry around, but may also be useful. Also, if we encountered another soul in this place, it would probably have a disarming effect. They see me carrying one around my hips like a tourist. It was perfect, and now it's not. Who knows how many millennia it sat there, unmoved despite the shimmering water. It actually reminds me so much of when I was in high school and I had a new sweatshirt, and my friend walked up to me, reached out, and she pulled one side of the drawstring down just a little bit and said, "They'll never be even again," and walked away. Here's our way out. Chapter 2. Only ever downward. But look, each chapter has actually been visually distinct while still keeping the premise. Those white tiles never go away, but others are introduced. And I feel like that place was a bit more slide heavy, a bit more deep pool heavy, and by deep I mean 90% of it being air with the pool part at the bottom. And this just feels more like portholes. And it has an effect, you know? I'd talked before about how the lighting was having an effect on the perceived color of the tiles. Well, here, the color of the tiles affects our perception of the lighting. It seems darker, even though, logically, it really shouldn't be. And that thing, that slide at the end of the hall, it looks like a snake poising for an attack. I hadn't actually made a note of that before, but yeah, the design of the slides is somewhat hostile. They're a bit jankier than you would expect. I mean, you expect twists and turns and curves, but some of those curves look really, really harsh, and it does actually give it a weird amount of aggressive personality. That's the kind of thing that you sound crazy to explain, but I'm really curious if some of you will see what I'm saying. Look at this, it's playing with the placement of the colored tiles to create a weird illusion of a jagged hallway. Well, I suppose it actually is pretty jagged, but the coloration is making it seem more so. Oh, I can hardly see a thing. But so long as there's contrast, I know where I can walk. Into the darkness it is. Okay, I suppose that's all there is to it then. Actually, perhaps not so. That's where we came from, or is it? No. We got a couple of choices. I can't move forward. Is it too narrow? Look at that. A split staircase with no access to the other one, just down and into the dark. There is something about that I've experienced in dreams too. Darkness around corners and inaccessibility. Whoa. Look at that, a big old tank. With big old murky water. It's like an aquarium. And there are actually things in there, look! even if it's just an inner tube. And this looks less like a tank held back by glass and more like a waterfall. Oh, this is so creepy. Look at the way we can just barely see the edge of these things caught in the light. Such a strong light in here. And yet, only a couple feet away from the edge, it's barely illuminated. Makes you wonder what else could be in there. Well, the longer you stare, the more you expect something to slowly emerge looking right at you. I can't help but be reminded of that one aquarium that was abandoned in Australia. And explorers went to check it out and found inside a tank containing a preserved tiger shark corpse decaying in the water that had not yet been removed. In any case, things seem to have lightened up a bit, and we should be grateful for these moments when they come, right? I just wanted to see how deep this would get. Doesn't seem like there's a sudden drop-off. I've disturbed far too many floaties. Down and around the corner. Okay, it didn't matter which path I took. It's just I like to be on tile and moving quickly. There's a sauna in here! Ooh, there's even sweat effects. We had the opportunity to sit down. How cool is that? I mean, we may have become trapped here, but that doesn't mean we can't enjoy ourselves, and the fact that it actually invites you to interact in this way is really unique. I haven't seen stuff like this before. A liminal game, doing things I haven't seen before. Do you know how crazy that is to me? This is extreme sweat, though. I hope this water is at least cool. Well, it's probably cool by comparison. What if we take a moment to enjoy each sauna? I do feel like there's a better than good chance of us encountering Auntie the janitor here. Am I really going to sit at each of these? Of course I am. Though only for a second now. I've never actually done a sauna myself, but I feel like it would be really, really relaxing. For a time. I don't know. The rec center I went to as a kid had one, but I was always scared of it. TV conditioned me to believe that if you go inside one, and you're not like a well-built, like, sculpted adult, you'll just die instantly. You'll just burn up. Well, at least our needs are taken care of. There's something so much worse about the fact that the lip of the bowl is submerged. If I flush that thing, will the entire place drain? You know, I'd never consciously thought about this, but there is something that sort of unnerves me about a pool that has only one accessible side, and the rest is all just walls. I don't know, maybe there's some level of comfort in knowing that if you just go in any direction, not too far, you'll be able to climb up and out. But here, even if it is shallow, there's nothing. You have to come all the way back over here. We could always take the fun way down. The real fun way. Yep. Round and around we go. And hey, there's a little bit of light bleeding through this plastic. They didn't get the ultra thick stuff like the other one. And we have to climb all the way back up. Well, they really got me with that. Like, you're moving! Hang on, I very nearly missed you. You are moving, aren't you? It's so hard to tell. I think you might be. I think you are, just subtly. A being of marble or granite. And it kind of makes me wonder if those statues truly were statues. Or if they were just waiting for me to leave, or just utterly indifferent to my presence. Is that what awaits me? I can't even be 100% sure that you're moving. Anyway, water slide, wee! Dude, that was so easy to miss. Blended right in. And here we see a tube that's become wedged. Kind of makes me think of somebody who was coming down here, realized what was ahead, tried to stop themselves, and inertia carried them out, but not the tube. Getting injured, holding your arms out, trying to slow yourself down. Every once in a while, there's a change in the ambiance, like some distant sound. And you drive yourself crazy trying to detect patterns in it. It's another one of them stair tubes, but this one goes through the wall, meaning it may be the only way to get to somewhere. I just heard something. Oh, it may have been that door popping open. We're playing the stall game. Maybe we really can play a stall game. Only a toilet in that one. Well, we have a hiding place if we need it. Different sounds for hitting them. Okay, let's get out of here. This place gives me the creeps, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like anytime I'm not looking there, somebody's peeking their head out from around one of the many corners. I also worry about being in here and seeing a face rush up to meet me. What if we could end up someplace fun? Oh, look at this. These aren't just gaps in the wall letting light through, these actually look like windows with like panes and stuff. Well, actually, see, here's one place where VR might have been beneficial. Getting the scale of this right. Because we can very clearly see this is roughly or more than 3 stories. It's like walking through an alleyway, but it's all pool. It is something that is partially lost in translation when playing in flat screen. Am I hearing more steam being created? We seriously don't want to close the door? I feel like we're letting all the hot air out. It's so hard to navigate with all this steam. It's like there's a sail and my wallet isn't protected. Oh, it's just gotten so dark. Oh my. Excuse me. Pardon me. I don't actually know if any of you have changed at all. Mind the toilets, don't trip over them, and that would be an embarrassing way to drown. One of the things I appreciate the most about the physicality of this game is how the level of water that you're submerged in actually affects your speed and the sound effects used. But no time to marvel at that. We've got something new to marvel at. Oh no. If we can't walk this, we're gonna have to walk back. The physics of the water don't seem to have a problem with it, though. Maybe we'll be as lucky. It seems as though we will. That is so weird. Up until now, this place has been nonsensical, but otherwise physically consistent? Now we realize not even that's safe. And this is going to be a whole area themed around that, huh? Until we reach what must be the end. Man, according to Audacity, I have been recording for about an hour and 15 minutes or so, and it feels like I've been in here for such a long time. It feels like I've been walking endlessly. And I think that's what I like the most about this compared to other games. Like, sure, you could argue that the whole point of liminality is to feel endless, to feel like you're lost. That's what Dreamcore did really well. But I feel like it's really cool that these are actually bite-sized levels that are completed fairly quickly while still feeling like you're being lost. Like, it still feels like you haven't seen everything when you go through it. Well, down we go. Ugh. Well, that was a smooth transition. From one level to the next. I'm not saying it was smooth moves on our part. Oh, maybe we're still in part 3. And once more, this has the illusion of being like a waterfall. Wait. This looks familiar. Never mind, we found the MC Escher room. As soon as it introduced wonky gravity, it decided to really lean into it. Look at that pool on the ceiling. Enjoying the show? It's like an operating theater. No, I don't think you are moving. But there's nothing more to be done. Why do you look like you're watching so aggressively? You seem absolutely humiliated, but it's all that's around. The only toilet that's above water anyway, at least if you don't want to climb back up that slide. There is something inside this tank, although I can't tell if the proportions are being exaggerated by the water. Look at you, a figure in a giant one of those chairs. But we can only see your arms and legs. The Lincoln Memorial is not at all how I remember it. Sounds like there's like faint music echoing from somewhere distant. I imagine the acoustics in here must be incredible, huh? There's something about being in brightly lit claustrophobic spaces that doesn't come up very often. And I guess it's better than being in the dark. There's still something weird about it. Look at this. More sauna wood. And more of these. These are actually deeper than you would think. Oh my god. Oh wait. Oh no, for a second I was trying to see if we could actually enter one from the other. They don't all have the same shape. Oh no. It's one of these. Light around the sides. Actually, there's a dark outer ring as well. Maybe it's best. Usually it's best in these situations to hug an outer wall. I'm really gonna have to be careful with the EQ in this video, because there's so many like subtle sounds that I can barely hear even with headphones, but they're unmistakable. In this case, it was like the distant crashing of objects, like things are being moved. Like the cleanup after some big event. Right here. I was just looking for any lights I could find. Whoa. You know, there's this glass table that reveals wild patterns when you look into the side of its surface. This reminds me of that. What happened? Chapter 3 completed. Did I fall through something? Did I push something over? It was pitch black ahead of me. I fell down. So these walls can be broken, and now we find ourselves down here in Chapter 4. This is really neat. See, one thing I always dislike in liminal discussions is the idea that any of this is knowable. The idea of the rules of the back rooms, that this is level whatever, and this is what you see at level whatever. Here, things very much lean in the direction of an aesthetic depending on what chapter we're on. But shades of them can be seen all over. And things can change within a level. Another wave, like what we saw before. We've been let in, or the steam has been let out. Man, these reflections have the effect of making everything look so much bigger. More and more of these shapes just flying at us. Okay, well, obviously we're gonna go see what that is over there. Okay, this is the creepiest thing we've seen now. Yes, perhaps creepier than the hands. Well, it doesn't lead anywhere. For a second, I thought it was Satan's water slide. Oh, look at it. Actually, it does sort of remind me of a character from this really creepy claymation. It's like Adventures of Mark Twain or something like that. You can look it up on YouTube. That gave me some unpleasant flashbacks. Where do I go now? It's like even the air tensed up when I came in here. Nothing's happening. But you just feel some sort of malice radiating off of it. It's cool design. Sometimes a place just feels different. And it can be hard to articulate exactly why. I mean, back there where we just were, there's railings just poking up out of the water. So not only does it give the immediate impression that there's stuff below the waves, stuff you can't see just at waist height, but also you feel penned in, you feel constrained. And that's combined with the lack of mobility from being in the water that's already there. In other words, you feel vulnerable. You feel like if something were to come at you, you would not be in control of your own escape. Your body doesn't feel like how it usually does. And there's a real sense of panic in that. It's like an anticipated panic. Oh, we are climbing the stairs to our apartment. See what I mean? The style distinctly changes, but it's not designating each chapter as this is this kind of area. Look at that. A bottomless pit, but it makes you feel like you're here as a sacrifice, like all the windows are watching you fall to your doom. We've got the big stairs or the small stairs. Yeah, really just the different stairs. Into the darkness. Hey, 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 so you're bouncing up and down like somebody was just here? There's actually a door. Which we cannot mess with. I mean, hey, opening it might not be the easiest thing this deep, but aren't you curious? Honestly, who knows if these doors are even real though, right? Can't open this one either. Every once in a while we catch a glimpse of a slide, and we see that the outcome is in no way assured. There's likely no intelligent design here, and if there is, it's malicious design. Hello, there's a slide in here. Yep. It's always hard to tell if we've been in a given spot already. Actually, maybe we have seen this. Playing a game like this, especially all in one sitting, always feels like those crazy, like, life-changing dreams. And by that I mean the ones that feel life-changing in the moment. You wake up and you feel like you've lived a whole other life, and you have some new perspective that just slowly fades throughout the day. But those dreams, the ones that stick with you, are really fascinating to me. Always a mad rush to write them down so you can preserve some of those feelings. Now, this is definitely one of the most connected chapters so far. Everywhere I go, I feel like I'm ending up here. Hello, there's an elevator shaft. So maybe we'll want to look before we leap while navigating this place. Like, more than any other, this is turning me around. Every area has 50 different branches. Up and down. And oddly enough, it has the feeling of residential. Like, the windows are more residential, there's doors. There's, in general, just more recognizable things, but it's still coated in the skin of pools. And that's another cool thing about this. It's utilizing coding a place as one thing while presenting as another. Your brain is going into overdrive trying to make sense of it. I mean, it contains all things that are individually familiar, so it's not going to try and reinvent the wheel. But maybe it should, because we're right back here. Well, we didn't take this set last time. But maybe we should, because we're right back here, I think. Have we seen these stairs before? Look, the flooding comes right up to here. So even these standard apartment building stairs are still pools. Everything is still a pool. Reimagine the world around you as nothing but pools. So this time, instead of going that way, we'll come up this way. And that brings us only to here. I guess we can sort of track where we are based on slides. These balconies look a bit like high dives. This toilet actually has toilet paper. Although it would get soggy and crumply in my hand the second I touched it. I've been crawling around in so much water. These stairs seem to just skip several stories. Although, I do recognize down there. If we keep going up, perhaps we can get a free ride to the bottom? Maybe we want to give another pass by that mask downstairs? What are you? The reveal of something new is what you are. Look at those tortured expressions on their faces. Oh, the slides twisting like pipes in a wall or roots in the ground. It really feels like some kind of hellish afterlife. That one goes right down your throat. You guys weren't kidding. This game really is different. How is this the most condensed form of making nothing the point of a liminal game, while still managing to be so original about it? Also, it really feels like something is moving back there. It sounds like it. So I'm gonna keep it going. That was strictly on rails. That was something that somebody wanted me to see. Hidden for all but me. Okay, well, let's not go that way. This place is not ADA compliant. Is this our way out? Maybe you're happy for me. Yeah. We completed chapter 4. What is that over there? A cave-in of bricks. Luckily, there's another way out. I feel like maybe there was... There's so many things we haven't seen. This game is actually replayable. I mean, I feel like it would be against the spirit of things, first of all, to just try and rush the end, but also to double back when we found the end and try to see everything. It really does feel like a game you're meant to drift through, and so that's kind of how I'm playing it. So let's keep drifting. But I will say that even on top of the way it's handling its scares, its physicality makes me feel it. It makes it so much more immersive, and it seems that Chapter 5 is the one that introduces bricks to the mix. Really stepping out of our comfort zone with this one, aren't we? But maybe in this case, you're trying to form the association. Well, hey, we've encountered our first drain, which looks more like a manhole cover. If we could find a way to pry that off, maybe there'd be a ladder there? Maybe climbing down would bring us upward. It makes about as much sense as anything. Look at this. You know, this is doing something really weird for me because it was brickwork that defined the architecture of the rec center that I used to go to as a kid. That's the building that informed my whole conception of why the pool rooms are appealing. And yet this was not the look inside the pool area. The stuff we've been seeing is. Oh, we may as well use this stuff over here. Whee! I feel like I've just made a life-altering decision. You know what it is? The brick makes this feel so old. Like we're trespassing in some old religious building or something. I mean, the architecture was always there, and none of this would look out of place if it was covered in white tile. It's just the skin has changed, and that makes all the difference. It is really cool how it's kind of stepping outside of the established look of what the pool rooms are, while still entirely being that. Okay, I think I just heard like a motorcycle outside. I was really afraid that something was coming for me for a minute. But yep, all the same stuff is here. Tell you what, we've survived some great falls. And while it may not be wise to dive into such shallow water, we've been proven okay before, right? Here, the doorways hide in the shadows. That's another thing. It makes the darkness much more pronounced when the walls aren't reflective bright colors. Whee! Dodds diver. Performed a dive worthy of an award. We actually got an achievement for that. See, I love these little rewards you get for just engaging with the environment. We could jump down there, and actually, if I did, how would I even get out? Maybe there's an entrance under the stairs? Hang on, wait, I'm really curious about this. Ah, there is, right over there. Once again, hidden in a corner. Immediate transition into this. It's like a wipe. It feels like an edit. But it really is just right over there. And actually, an image like this is a lot like what that rec center looked like. You know, it wasn't until I started exploring liminal maps and such that I realized what a huge impact that it had on my, I guess, foundational thought for architecture. I guess it was such a present place in my childhood and so strange compared to other buildings. A shower and a toilet. Or, well, I think when the shower is the toilet, it's called a bidet. Looks interesting. I'll see what you got. I can't even make out the texture. Is it brick? Or is it more like wood or plaster? We've entered the halls of some old building, like a hotel or something. Or a monastery. I can hear music, and remember, all music is diegetic. But I can't find the speaker. This is the kind of thing that'll drive you crazy. The length of time you spend here, it's not just about the discomfort you'd start to feel, although this game does take pains to make sure the player feels it. You really find yourself psychologically sucked in. For something that's so open, you get a sense of tunnel vision. Like there's nothing but what's forward. You only have some say about what forward means. You start to feel like you've never known anything else. You know that your goal is to get to the next chapter. You know what a next chapter might look like. But again, there's no expectation of an ending. You don't know why you want it. You just know you do. Absolutely terrifying. Look at that. All these pillars, but only one with an opening. Like the space wasn't enough for it, and it just continues forever. A railing from the side is kind of like a ladder. Oh, hey! We've made it to here. Does that make sense? Those hands are following me again. I wonder how many times I simply haven't seen them. The better of an angle we get, the farther away you've seen. That's as good as it's gonna get. Oh, it'll do it. Yes, it will. I should have known. Give this game credit, it takes some very big swings with its architecture. Taking something established and doing such wild stuff with it while still feeling appropriate. Speaking of wild things, look at that. Human all but for the head. Wait! Whoa, wait, no, this is a statue we've seen before, but we're seeing it from another angle. Spatially, this makes very little sense, because how many times have we fallen since then? But then again, I say that while looking at this. That is so disorienting to move the mouse around in this space. Come on. Oh, I think there's glass in the way. You can't step over this. Actually, wait! No way! This is from all the way back in Chapter 1. This game is so trippy, dude. Oh, well, obviously. The wall curves upwards, so we're meant to walk on it. Right into your hands. Like somebody scooped your head right out. Hey, we reached a ladder sooner or later. That's better than nothing, right? And it's even up from a certain perspective. Although a certain perspective is right, those hands are still clinging to the side. I don't suppose any of this is happening while we're twisting and curving in a water tube, right? I suppose we'd have no way to know. Oh, hey, it's an elevator shaft! I see we're operating on Minecraft water logic. I didn't mean to fall in, but to be fair, I probably would have tried anyway. No way. Oh, it just couldn't resist. How can classic resist classic? Carpet. Look at that. We can even see ourselves dripping onto the carpet. I know this really isn't one for existing thoughts on the subject, but the carpet should already be damp. It's already a good thing that it's not. Then again, perhaps it is. Look at that. Even when it goes for something that evokes the same emotions as the classic backrooms, it's still staying true to itself. Everything is a pool here. I think there is also something just inherently cool about doing crazy things with pools. When you're a kid, you're thinking, when I grow up, I'm going to design something like this, and it's going to be the coolest water park ever. But then, I don't know, it's just inherently unsafe. It's the kind of thing that can't really be built, except for, like, in the strict interpretation of a water park. But part of it stays with you. Okay, we cannot crawl into there. Probably a good thing. I wonder if the water that falls off of me is also affected by this strange gravity. From the look of it, it is. Look at this attention to detail. The drip coming off of us actually gets smaller the farther removed we are from the water. I was just about to comment on how the electric hum from the lights isn't present. But why would it be? They're really more like windows, just like everywhere else. The back rooms have been corrupted by the pools. That's really cool. Now that's something entirely new. What was that? It sounded like some kind of machinery spinning. Well, there's not much to this place in particular. What did I just hear? Phone booths, though. It doesn't seem like we can either enter nor see inside. We've reached it. Paradise. I don't feel safe about this at all. I keep waiting for some long, lanky arms to reach out and pull me into some underwater cave. I'm feeling my stomach drop just from looking at this, and I haven't even seen the bottom yet. Look. These drops just look vertical. I need to step away from this. I felt my knees get weak, and it's a good thing I'm sitting down. This would be nothing short of nuts in VR. I couldn't move for a second. It's like my character just had to prop themselves against the railing. Look at this. It's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory of drowning. A kid did drown there, but we don't talk about that. His Oompa Loompa lawyers were able to cover that up, and if they're willing to subjugate their own people so, imagine what they do to some random chubby kid. It's a dizzying sense of vertigo, where your adult self recognizes how impossible and unsafe this is, while trying to reconcile that with the kid in you that thinks this is awesome. Oh, down we go. That's vertical, that's just a drop. Yeah, that little curve ain't breaking your fall. Breaking your legs against the stairs, maybe. Well, I suppose that's not the worst outcome from descending this. Listen, we can even hear the echo of our footsteps in this cavernous space. But now every time I look at some shadowy hallway, I expect to see fingers wrapped around the corner. We're being followed, that much is very clear. And something is seemingly pushing us forward, but it only ever leads to nightmares, those clouds. And I wonder which, if either of the two, has to do with these writings on the walls. That's precisely what I was terrified of. Wow. So it actually did do it. Absolutely horrifying when you're just walking and suddenly you're just dropping. Can't see, can't hear, can't breathe. And apparently we can't swim either, which, if so, adds a whole other layer to the fear here. You're saying that's our way out. What if I defy that order? Well, to a sane person, that doesn't look like a viable path. But we're starting to become one with this place. We intuitively get the logic. How long would you have to be here before it starts to feel like home? Because according to Audacity, it's been about 2 hours. See, there I was expecting to conform to gravity. Instead, I just dropped down like normal. It leads to the inevitable thought, will this betray me at the worst possible time? There's a really big cat purring down there. And that's a baby. It wants head boops. Oh no. Oh, I thought this was going to be like some kind of reverse high dive. Oh, hey. We're back to here. It's only from up here that we can see just how deep that is. Light doesn't reach the bottom. But it seems like this slide leads to a higher up pool that overlooks the rest of this. Gravity assist. Man, the idea of water on a balcony. I remember seeing a post a long time ago of some people who tried to make a little pool on their apartment balcony by setting up like plastic barriers or something along the lower edges and then filling it with water and letting the kids play on it. And so many people were screaming about what a bad idea it is. How that's an immense amount of weight that these things are not meant to support. Well, it seems we still get here one way or another. Like lines in a pool. Ooh. Imagine if somebody had been standing there watching us go down. We would have only caught the briefest glimpse. This place is pretty big on its own, but the stripes make it look like it goes on forever. And in some places it well might. I never know if I'm really hitting a wall in the darkness, or if it's just my character refusing to go any farther. In this case, it's a wall. Ooh. That looks interesting. It's like we've come to a mall. And that looks like it's come to a dead end, so I guess this is our exit. A working escalator, and wow. Turn up the brightness in here, get some reflections going, and these stripes are working overtime. Reflections on stripes. Concept I'd not considered for how weird it is. Look, I've come all this way. Should I really try to walk this? It's excruciatingly slow. Maybe I make it even slower for myself. Can we fight against it? We can. Oh, now I've got to make up for that. It's almost like the chairs are some kind of parasite or virus, spreading and multiplying inside some giant organism. Phone booths are here as well. Where are we heading, game? Some green rectangle high above us in the dark. Hey, what are you? I'm hearing almost like radio frequencies, and you look sort of like a fire watch tower. Conversations on a passing radio, not a firewatch tower, but a house in the void. We know there's walls, but they're so dark it might as well be floating. Like a memory passing us by. It even causes visual distortions to an extent, but hey, we've made it. It's like recalling fragments of a conversation that we didn't understand even at the time. It's not that way. I really hope this door opens. I was gonna say, because if not, we're fighting that escalator all the way back down. This game screws with your sense of time. Because I feel like it was only seconds ago that I stepped onto that escalator, and yet it feels like I was on it for an hour. Like, I find myself thinking back to different things that I've seen in this game, and I might have an accurate idea of when certain things were, but when I start trying to compare them against each other, you start getting all these inconsistencies. Whee! Oh my god. Whee! Look, these paintings are passing. Whee! That was awesome. I'm Rain. I'm literally Rain. Oh, sweet. Pool party in the Truman Show. And a tunnel to a foggy street. Wow. Little Billy across the street's got the awesomest slide in town, comes right off the top of his bunk bed. An endless song playing over the speakers. It's like childlike shenanigans. That's what I think of when I hear this. But you can't even call this a block. It's just the one house. It's like when I was 6 years old and gave myself infinite money in The Sims. Just pools everywhere. And maybe this does go deeper than I thought. Now this is a block. It feels kind of like I'm being swallowed by something. Lights from inside, it's like they're all watching me. And we've not abandoned the aesthetic. Each one's got a pool. The grass does crunch underfoot. Oh my god. Even as that stuff fell away, we were still hearing the music. No rhyme or reason, just transported someplace else. And unfortunately, I can't just run on out of here. Do we see a face in that? Or do we see the speakers? Feels like the kind of art that used to be on the wall at my pediatrician's office. The kind of thing that just makes you stop and go, But, oh my god! Oh hey. Statues of the very same hands that have been pursuing me, forcefully opening the door and pointing that accusatory finger. It's the one thing that does make this sort of feel like some sort of punishment, maybe. And these two are pools, but look, we're seeing radiators, wood floors, plaster walls. And the tortured faces of the condemned. Each one of these statues has made me feel like it's someone who came here before me. Either the people themselves or a captured likeness. But whether this game will actually care to explain who we are or what we're doing here, who knows? Oh, look at this. Combining this wallpaper, but with much more detailed environments. Those windows almost give it like a retrofuturistic 50s look. I feel like I'm playing Superliminal again, especially with the chessboard. You're watching us. Are you something we've seen earlier? I truly can't remember. Yes, I can! This is the very first spot. This is where we came down. There's not even the edge of a ladder there anymore. Somebody could have been right here watching us and we'd have no idea. What is that? What is peeking from around the corner? Oh, chairs. There's a sense of apprehension you feel anytime you approach a dark corner. And what this does is it makes you feel it over and over again in very quick succession. For a moment, it was almost a relief to have left. But over and over again, it shows us that we never really leave. We just unlock more possible skins, and that's actually doing wonders for progression. It's very easy to get bored in liminal space games, especially if you played a lot of them. But this constantly keeps it fresh and interesting, with its changing environments, with its scripted events. But it never abandons its mission. At times it almost feels like we've gone right back to square one. Look how impossibly deep that actually is. Hey, a ladder. And it's going upward. Well, it's too little too late. But I'll take it anyways. No. No. This feels like a trap. In fact, having all these floaties here, I can't help but be reminded of the tutorial for Voices of the Void. Unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to boot the just a little bit to get through. You as well. That rumble is always present when we're at the precipice of something terrifying. Whee! Ugh. We found the king sauna. With one observer. No? Two. All of you in that defeated pose. Sometimes it makes me think that maybe if we were to sit down somewhere, our body quits, mentally we give up. We stay where we are and just calcify in place. Oh, hey. Familiar stairways. And a slide in the dark under a spotlight. Like the slide itself is peeking around that corner. I keep waiting for those hands to come out of the shadows. It's like this entire time we've been observed, and now in these later chapters, we're the ones going back and observing our own path. Well, at least that one wasn't two-way. Oh my. Oh mightily my. Well, obviously we have to see what happens with that. We've got Prince of Persia capabilities, the digital version. Don't need no sands of time here. We hear it spin. And nothing comes of it. I guess we were a little too quick for you. In rooms like this, I have an instinct to go along the outer edge, so that we'll see anything that might be hiding behind a pillar. The flooded remnants of the town that just sank. And I can hear things from within, like an old phone just ringing once or twice. These guide rails are getting smaller and smaller. Being in this room, it's like this whole thing is some attraction. You can go up and out, or left and out. There's darkness over there, which I'm drawn to. It's almost like the houses themselves are trying to vocalize, but are being drowned out. Wait, what is this? There's just so much. That's what pains me the most, is I know there's a lot I'm not seeing. In fact, at times it almost feels like I have a habit of navigating directly to the exit. into the walls, into the pipes. Almost feels like we're getting to the place that sustains everything. And it is as cramped as steam tunnels should be. Pillows. Like these maintenance tunnels are part way between a mini hotel and catacombs. And this feels like somebody got up and left. And some people had more of an upward climb than others. It's like a hotel. It's got everything anyone could need. Down into the sewers now. Not all of these have a grate, but we can't climb in. That moment when you climb out of water and you can hear it dripping around you, well, in the beginning at least, I would often mistake it for something skittering at my feet. What are you? The artist at work. I suppose, at times, for as horrifying as this is, for as infinite as it is, you have to remind yourself that there is a design. Interestingly, we can see some texture here that isn't actually present in the real thing. In fact, it's completely blank, not even white tiles. Like you simply haven't finished creating this just yet. And that panel is popped out. I mean, like I've said, one of the most appealing things about this is the ability to simply lose yourself in it. In liminal spaces, it can be very difficult to even comprehend that it was made by humans. That's the whole point. It's supposed to feel like human construction with no design. But truly there is one. Designed to be designless. It takes a certain kind of mindset to make something like this. To actually externalize and deliberately create a dream for somebody else to go through. Good drop down here. I can feel the pressure in the pipes. Anything more further down? It totally is. Oh, look at this. We actually dip here. These are great. This chair does not belong here, but we can have a seat. Have a thought for a moment. Our view narrows. We can contemplate the clock. This one actually is ticking forward, although it never seems to stray too far from midnight. Also, there's no hour hand. Unless it's tucked in there. Oh yes, it is. We've joined high society. Look at you! A living sheep! What are you doing here, buddy? Can I pet you? No, I can't. I can stand on top of you. Although I can't imagine you like that much. That's insane! A live creature just right here. Doesn't even acknowledge my existence. I feel like I have to do something with this information. Oddly enough, in everything, this is the most insane thing we've come across. It's the one thing that doesn't fit into the logical framework of anything we'd expect could happen here. But here you are. A miracle child, a lamb of God. I could go for some mutton. No. Push those thoughts out. You're too adorable. I mean, if we, like, hang out over here... Sorry, I just keep wondering if I sit everywhere, if it'll trigger some kind of cutscene or, like, achievement. Things are really getting crazy here now. And we're ascending out of the subway. This, the machinery which carries them. Does that imply deliberate placement? Either way, whatever all this is, they are the product. Well, it looks like we will not be following them to their destination. Hey! You scooped up a flamingo. Well, maybe those are the product, too. This doesn't represent the percentages of objects I've actually seen. I mean, I feel like we've seen more flamingos than statues, right? Or at least pool toys than statues. And those stats are skewed by the huge, like, human setup of them that covered the entrance to Chapter 3. I've taken a wrong turn. This is also not the first time the chess imagery has been seen. It's like they all just sit here with their heads down, technically opposing, but united in their imprisonment. And every once in a while, some great being, tortured itself, comes from on high to take one of them. They don't care to try and help, they just hope it's not them. Look, there is actually another one here, hidden in the dark, waiting to make its choice. But right now, it's not its turn. This feels a bit like a spa. A really comfy one at that. A gallery. After so long denying any sort of intention, this whole chapter is dedicated to creating it. There's a duck peering from around a corner. Actually, why does this remind me so much of another piece of art I've seen, like something famous? I can't quite place it. They've just done it in their style. Ships at sea with jagged cliffs that make no sense. And children's drawings. May as well sit and contemplate, right? This one we've actually seen earlier. We saw this when we were falling. We glimpsed it for only a brief second. Kitty! Oh, Kitty in the sauna! Kitty, hi! Some of these do actually depict the pool rooms themselves. And the inhabitants. The Lost Garfield comic. Actually, it appears to be Garfield and Nermal trapped here in the pool rooms. Enemies reassuring each other. And this clearly indicates that there's been a harmless little ghost in the water all this time. My god, I just noticed the duck back there. Can we sit in this? No such luck. But we can hide under it like a child. Nothing. This place has embraced postmodernism. I can't tell if that's architecture or a being or both. Oh no. I found the creepypasta room. Like a melting face or a person bent over backwards onto their hands. And the gallery is flooded. It's almost like the chessboard we were just at. And someone innocent making an offering. I suppose it's on us to decide whether this powerful being is being tamed, or if she doesn't know it's about to take. That image could easily either be inspiring or horrifying. Are we getting closer to the production line? No, it's a subway. A subway with a bed on the tracks. We can wait here for our train. A train that is always just arriving, but never pulling in, from the sound of it. I really like this level of environmental interaction. Like, it may seem like such a small thing to be able to sit down, but hearing our character exhale, it's one of the many ways we feel the fatigue. It was my second interpretation that was right. You are the being in the painting in the dark hallways. And this whole thing has been the entrance to your domain. What is that? A pulsating, growling flesh growing in the walls. But one cutout there in hours of wandering. Has it always been just parallel to us? Is it behind every wall? We're not going to find any answers up here. I could use a seat after climbing all those stairs. I don't know of any other games that have really done it like this. Like, games that make sure that the fatigue is felt. I mean, simply by having the character express that they feel it, it's like I can feel my own legs getting sore. And it makes a huge difference. A ladder! Whoa, 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 whoa! A ladder in the darkness that's disappearing in the darkness? It feels like it's finally letting us out. Well, maybe not letting us out. We'll see where this takes us. We've gone nowhere but down. Where could this be? Of course not. We've trained ourselves for so long to see a ladder as safety. Why would it be? I do not especially appreciate the idea of having my back to the darkness like this. So let's move on. Stuff like this makes me feel like... I was gonna say like I'm on a spaceship, but you know, I was gonna bring up another thought, which is that we could be being watched from behind any of these, and you know, then it happened, and then it was made very clear. And it's one of those rare moments where there feels like there's intention. Hello, what's down that way? I'll let you know in 2 to 6 business days when I arrive there, finally. Oddly enough, here we actually can hear a buzz from the lights. Even though we possibly shouldn't? Ah, well, here's where you piled up all your excess signs. I imagine that means that that's a ramp to nowhere. Or maybe somebody who was trapped here before us made it their life's mission to gather up all the signs and put them in one place. Who am I to judge? You entertain yourself however you can when there's nothing else. It feels like it's been fairly linear for a while. Well, we're back in the walls again. And I can hear music. And something else. He's saying I'm not to go that way. I guess we found the creator's favorites. The elite of society down here. They're continuing to pen us in. Oh no, I should have stayed there. But there's no going back now. My god, I did not expect you to be right there. I feel like we're being shown the door. We're setting it down. Or perhaps choosing to stay. Architecture, build your dreams. Just one of many. An architect, an artist looking for inspiration in buildings. That is such a cool way to end that. And there's so much ambiguity as to what it actually means. Did we really experience this? Are we recreating it? Did we dream it? Did it happen? So much to say about it, but this was really cool. There's so much to say about it, and there's so little to say about it, because it is ultimately just doing it exactly right, which is to keep it as minimalist as possible. And I look at that, I am just under 3 hours of recording right now. It feels like I've been at this for days, and it's able to give us these bite-sized little experiences with so much constant variety, both in terms of the different set pieces and rooms and the events, and even the credits rewinding on us. A new chapter. Huh, so there is some more. Anyway, let's check out Chapter 0. Maybe this is entirely something bonus. Or maybe it fits in with the overall story that it did reveal to us. Maybe we're like a collector. Maybe those arms in the end are ours. And we're collecting the dreams of others for inspiration. Reliving them simply as a means to get ideas. And there is definitely a feedback effect here. It's a chicken and egg scenario. Do our dreams inspire these worlds? And then these worlds inspire dreams. Sad sheep. Excuse me, I found you. And the creepy clown version of the mask. Well, it says exit right here. That looks creepy. And it's not actually an exit. Zero, zero, zero. Right back to where we started. The trick staircase. This way to the pools. And this is where the bouncer sits, you know, to make sure you're worthy of the pool. Whoa. What looks like an actual outdoor environment. Shipping containers along the tracks. That echo is really unnerving. Look, smokestacks in the distance. It's like a noirish industrial city. But even this place is pools. The signs down there are almost indicating that it's supposed to be like this. But then there's the imagery of power lines running all over this, creating the connection between water and electricity, saying, in one more way than we've already seen, this place isn't safe. We could drop down here. Look at this, we can actually swim here. We can look underwater. That's something we couldn't do before, or at least never had the opportunity. Actually, wait, no. Can we go bobbing for Easter eggs back there? Because we could actually see a fair bit despite the darkness. Another question is, will we drown after a time? Or is our breath infinite? Can't make it through the windows. But while swimming, we are able to move a bit quickly. I guess let's climb these stairs then. Oh, we are going to be at this for a little while at this rate. But hey, the higher above water, the better. I suppose I'm really interested in this new swimming ability. It's really pretty until you remember you have to navigate it. That rumble, the sound of dripping water. And yet, in the distance, most of these windows are lightless except for the reflection of the dark skies above. This is a very different type of world, but there's a sense of desolation here that you just don't get from the other places, where the other places are more dreamlike. This is more apocalyptic, yet the lights are on. Well, really, I suppose it's just a different kind of dream. I wonder if this isn't something that, after the game was completed, maybe the creator was just having some fun. Look at that. It's almost like all of this was the result of an attack by some massive sea creature with tentacles. But somebody was around enough to set up some safety barriers. Into various rooms. So I'm definitely hearing a breathing that isn't me, right? I half expected to look up and find the tentacle no longer coming through. Stairs in each of these places. Something tells me our goal is over there. So how do we go up to go down? Little children's chairs, all in the same colors and textures as those slides. It really does feel like this game, this whole thing, is genuinely born out of a love for architecture. And about what crazy things you can do when it doesn't actually have to serve a purpose. Woo! coolest apartment ever. Hey, howdy guys. Were you here when I came in? Only place I haven't been is down here. That's a door that just won't open. Well, it could if we were a normal, functioning human being. However, this is dreamland, and we are limited in frustrating, relevant ways. An accessible, comfortable bed. Come on. It doesn't let us lie down. After all this, I'm gonna need a good lie down. I'll settle for a comfy chair. I can hear music from somewhere in here, too. Maybe, you know what I've just thought about? Maybe part of the problem, maybe part of the reason I've missed so many things is because the sound guides us to where we need to be, and I've been subconsciously following it? I don't know, that's one theory. That was terrifying. Observed a gesture from something wishing you to enjoy your stay. Custodian. Maybe we're just being invited into the room. Maybe that's what that closing is. Still, after the place we just came from, a flooded city, and images of an attack, it does sort of remind me of how in dreams you just sort of know things. It doesn't have to exposit to you, it's an inherent part of the thought. And so it's like we see this place and just have the knowledge in our head. A giant sea monster destroyed this city. This place is a little bit less welcoming. Under construction, bricks over the window, and a weird sound coming from outside. Like I said, so much less welcoming. That's me, and there's even a thing over there to make it look like the floor is just dark. The floor is warped yet smooth. Haha, look at that. I'm actually going to break my own rule, though, and explore around a bit more. It feels like one of those demo rooms at a furniture store, almost. I can practically smell the freshly sanded wood. Down there to the pools. It feels like the impression on the tile is just a texture, but it is meant to emulate the reflection off of water. There's a lot back here. I really thought that was just going to be a pit to nowhere. And can you blame me at this point? See, this is why I'm afraid of pits to nowhere. Or actually, I think these are stairs. Stairs to nowhere. Sarah Winchester designed this place. These stairs, it says, lead to the pools. Which which I suppose is what we've been trained to chase. There are some simply empty rooms. Well, maybe that one room was the only one we could enjoy our stay in. Room service. Stepped into many rooms in the hotel area, whether you were invited or not. Okay, I guess there was a certain threshold to reach. Well, I guess I should be glad that I'm making up some of those achievements, you know, extra credit. Ooh. Hope you don't roll in your sleep. A certain number of people do die every year from rolling out of bed. It's actually kind of a terrifying thought. This is actually the closest thing we've experienced to like a Garry's Mod, like gallery style map. Oh, hey. We are all here enraptured to hear what this thing has to say. A survivor of the flood. I guess it's a little bit shy. Alright. It's just practicing for an audience of no one. Standard practice. Now, what was going on up here? Interesting space. The reflections make it hard to tell where the walls actually end. There's another elevator down there. Past the water slide. I suppose technically that means this is an elevator shaft. Complete with children's chairs. I feel like the Red Queen is going to order my head off. Oh, it's a play place. Well, we've hit every other kind of liminal aesthetic, including Acme schools of denying the entry. Well, as I see it, we've got two ways we can go: down or out. Look at this, reminding us that we may have gone inside, but that external reality is still here. And there is something so comforting about that, isn't it? I mean, we just came from a warmly colored, dry and safe place. And we look out the window and see a city literally destroyed by flood. When we see that danger, it makes us feel safer. We feel protected from something, which can be oddly more comforting than there being no danger at all. And I would wager that this ladder just leads us down to here. Look at that creepy red balloon in the corner. Is this where we came from? It surely is. So there's no reason to go back down that way. Not right now, anyway. Look at this. Some really creative level design. They really allowed themselves to just go crazy with this one. Oh, hey. We've made it to the other side. This reminds me of GM indoor spaces. Are you to lead me to the pools? No, but certainly to somewhere. Provided this isn't salt water, this has got to be real refreshing, right? I mean, it looks clear enough. Even though the pipes would lead you to believe it's sewage. Hey, game, so you want to tell me what that was? No, 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 no. I know the idea is I'm supposed to start running. But now I feel more like a mom with her hands on her hips, saying, "What are you doing back there?" I would use the pool room's full name. Demanding an answer. Oh, hey, we made our way back to the hotel. Let's resume our search then. If we can even fit through. Which I'm not sure we can. You think it's endless, but so many of these paths are inaccessible. Until we climb into the pipes themselves, that is. Oh boy. Underwater. It's a good thing we're a fast swimmer, but will it be enough? Oh, hello. Look at you. I hope we can't drown. Doesn't seem like we can. A hatch, a way out. Those lines were guiding us. Come on. Oh no. We're still not out. And it's pitch black. Where are we going? Through here. Oh, we're in like a shipwreck. That doesn't guide us anywhere. I'm following the lights. At this point, I don't think I'm gonna drown, but it's still scary. This isn't just like being in a sinking ship, it's like being in a ship that's already sunk. A horrifying thing that's actually happened to people. Ah, yes. The monastery room. Also, I don't know if this is a change in room tone, or if that killed more brain cells than I thought. Oh no, it's the thing that comes out of the floor in the 13 Ghosts remake. Misplaced. Explored a pathway in the depths that wasn't a part of the itinerary. I wasn't aware there was an itinerary. Actually, knowing there was an itinerary may have changed everything. Wait, so is there nowhere else to go from here? I suppose not. But we can still hear something moving around outside, and... well, remember the giant squid. Chairs in the depths. Is this going to be any different on the way back? No, really, what will have changed? I'm starting to wonder if there's teleports in here. Ooh. We've made our way into the cargo hold. Oh my god. This is after Price and crew have already escaped. Well, we survived whatever was pursuing us down there. Head above water is always good for the time being. But it's funny, the plumbing in this place is like half ship, half water park. Still. I mean, I suppose it's still technically keeping with the theme. And there is the pool room's room, temporarily out of order. Not what I was expecting to see. Man, the engineering in that elevator is crazy. And another red balloon. I guess we all float down here. Oh, no, C404 error. The elevator is out of order. Are you trying to guide me? To the party. The influence of children is all over this one in particular. Those little children's chairs, the red balloons, the little ball being tossed into the hall. This door only opens part way, but look, there is something over there written in what looks like Morse code. I think that's all of it. Maybe somebody can translate that? Or, you know, Google it, since I'm sure somebody's translated this before. Well, I guess this is the only way, then. Back to the hotel. It really does have a way of feeling inviting. Which is something I didn't get in the entire time I was playing the other place. There was a bit of a perspective shift coming up there, and it was brought on so gradually I thought there was something up with my character. The dream logic present in this level is really cool. It actually does feel like it's telling a story. They show us a city destroyed by a monster, and then put us inside the guts of a ship that's sinking during an attack from said monster. At least that's the interpretation I took away. Imagine this, trying to climb a ladder in a cage underwater. That's the reality of the armed space. And there's no crawling onto dry land. We're faster in deep water anyway, right? Every once in a while, this game loves to be classically spooky. It's not even stopping for us. The walls here are pretty thin, huh? Tell you what, Granny. Yep, I had a feeling this would go down to the cage. What is it you're keeping watch for? Shotgun in your lap, waiting for the day the squid comes back? Thankfully, I have some iron lungs. Wait, that's not what that means. Well, we could have chosen air, instead we chose the abyss. I'm just worried it might be staring back. Green glow from outside. And access to somewhere new. Hey, we could actually make it to this part. I'm just curious, what if we do dive deeper down here? Oh my god! Well, that's my punishment. Warden of Waters. Discover a submerged diorama depicting the actions of an unseen force. Oh, glad I came back for that jump scare. So, anyways, we're here now. Let's see if we can find our way out. Here's a way out. And I imagine this would have been the way had we come down from upstairs as well. Whee! That kind of looked like we dove in arms first. Oh, that's so fast. Whoa! It's like we've ended up here all over again. That makes no sense, but I'll take it. Solace. Entered a place where a warm feeling of belonging washed over you. I think that's the true sign that we become one with the pool rooms. Simultaneously, the inside of a great cathedral and the pathways of a city street. And pools. See, it's the way it's able to weave so seamlessly in between situations that are creepy and comfy, or rather calming. It can feel like a warm day at the pool, or like you're freezing in the depths pursued by something. In dreams, it's stream of consciousness. It's in between one thing and the next, and it's like all is forgotten and forgiven between points. You almost can't remember the last when you're in one. There's a great drop-off here. And somebody peeking who just did a suspicious little movement, but maybe that was just your physics loading in. Look at you, you're a cute little octopus. Fun thing to encounter at the end of all that build-up. Ooh, you've got a friend. You don't move at all. But you were awaiting my arrival, weren't you? Down we go. See what I mean? Bright and cheery to creepy and panicked in an instant. Hey, I was kind of thinking that would be the end of it. Just level 0. Oh, it goes on forever. We're back in here. Which means we can... What was that? The reflection of a fan, maybe? Let's get up and out. Could climb more ladders, or we could see what's behind the blue door. A warning to keep quiet, that's what. And more hotels. By the way, guys, I am going to boost this somewhat in post, but yes, often it is as dark for you as it is for me. The floors are all topsy-turvy here. Oh, hey, look at that. I just assumed there would be stairs, because, you know, it's common building etiquette. This game is designed by mad folk. Oh, wait. These doors are open. Have we already been here? Okay, stop scaring me like that. Yeah, we have. Wait. So what if we climb this ladder? It is just like this game to show us something and then deprive us of it until much later. There is simply no other way. Yes, indeed. Could this be our prophesied exit? Survey says no. Survey says we're going right into further creepy. I mean, maybe this could be used to reach down into the depths and fish for the squid? No. No, this is a squid, not a fish. We are right back to creepy. Oh my god. Are you the eye that's been... I feel like I should move. I was gonna ask, are you the eye that's been painted on the walls? I'm just gonna scoot. Just gonna scoot. Oh, this is just stared enough to not send me sliding down at Mach 3. I figured there'd be something hiding down here. I believe I've seen artwork depicting you elsewhere. Alright, straight into the wall. That thing gyrating, it just looks so uncomfortable for it to be alive. And then it locks eyes right on you. Meta. We've come upon our own study. The thing we thought was the real world is no such thing. Yes, hand on the wall, I am appreciating the art. Also, I believe we found Peng from Dead Space back here. Look at this, a secret ending, not just extra. The same perspective. Building pools, that tape says. Statue sculpting. Wait, look at that. That's the same place we first encountered the hands. There's so much more going on in the background of this. Is this truly an exit? Can I sit in the rocking chair? That's another important question. We totally can. We even rock. I mean, I could just stay here. But I suppose there's a schedule to keep. Somebody pulled up the ladder, which is rude. And at a certain point, not being able to climb that is on us. All kinds of OGs. Oh, hey! That really did reveal something. Like, you know, the answer. There's a ladder there. Oh my god. I should have known a clown something was being foreshadowed. Can we climb into your mouth? That's the next question. No? Huh. There's a song from that way. The triangle and the circle. The door to old knowledge? Oh my god. Door's locked. And here comes the flood. But it sounded like maybe we made it? Well, either way, that is the end of pools, and maybe we'd have gotten a different outcome had we taken that ladder. Chapter 0 completed. Well, we may not have seen everything, but we saw a fair bit. And yeah, I think I definitely made the right call in not doing this in VR, because I would have had to take breaks. And this was best experienced all at once. Because the main thing about liminal spaces is that they feel like they go on forever. And the real strength to this is that it was able to keep it interesting all throughout. I've been recording for 3 hours and 45 minutes. I can cut a little bit from backtracking, but this is going to be a long video. Ultimately, though, we got about 2/3 of the achievements, and it just felt really rewarding to play. There's a lot of thought put into the experience, because the reason there's so many of these things on Steam is because they're easy to make. At least when there's not this much thought put into it. It's very easy to just make a maze with some classic style and say, there you go, it's a backrooms game. But with this, it feels so much more inspired. It constantly gives you the impression that there's something going on in the background. It stays true to the wandering and the environments being the core of the experience. And yet it still has its scares that are all planned so as not to compromise that. There's a lot going on, and yet it's also few and far between, that it comes as a shock every time. I guess I would say it was just surprisingly engaging, for a concept that, by definition, you wouldn't think there's that much more you can do with it. You know, it was enjoyable as someone who I would think I had seen it all. And I liked how we felt like such a participant. So many of these games just place you down in the back rooms, and that's all there is to it. Well, here, it still feels very dreamlike. There's things that don't make sense, like our improbable fall survivability or being able to breathe underwater, but at the same time, our character is very clearly physically present. We feel our weight, we feel the resistance of the water, we catch our breath when we run or sit down. And then there's that ambiguous ending. Was any of this real? Was that real? You can look at layers of this. It makes it far more interesting than just saying, here's the spaces, have at it, even if that's effectively what it's doing. All I can say is it's a great example of a well-trodden genre. And if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this game out for yourself, that link will also be in the description. If you want to support me on Patreon, that link will be in the description. And as always, I will see you in the next one.